This is Liz Barnes from Gottagettadeal. Today I'm going to show you how to set an eyelet, and we'll use this eyelet to attach a glue pad so that you can attach something to a ring. So we'll start with a ring blank. And the first thing you're going to need to do with a ring blank and your glue pad, each one's going to need a hole. Then this will all be attached with an eyelet. So I'm going to use the disc cutter. We need to figure out what size hole we need. So the easiest way to do that is to put your eyelet right on top of one of the holes. Whichever one that it will fit right into, that's the perfect size. So we are going to go with the 1/4 inch hole. And if you're using a disc cutter, you want to use the flat side, not the curved side, and it'll give you the cleanest cut. Put this in here, find your center, plug your ears, it likes to come out of the top, so then I hammer it this way, and I can pull it. Now I've just made a hole in the ring. Now we're going to do the same thing with the disc. Now it's kind of hard sometimes to get it in there, so I use just a piece of metal or something. Today we're using our ring blank. To push it into the center, you want to get it as close to center as you can. Remember to use your flat end. Put it in. I'm going to hammer off the end so I don't make a hole. Oops. Lost center as I was moving it, so just so you know, this is something to think about when you move things around. Alright. Now we just flip it over. It likes to come out the other end. Pull up. Alright, so we now have a hole in both the disc and in the ring blank. I sell eyelet setters. They look something like this. And this is the block that you would actually do all your work on. But since I have a choice, and I have a nice large block, that's what I'll use today. The eyelet sits flat. You put the disc down. And you're going to put the ring blank on there. You probably want to try and straighten things up here, because however you hammer it down is the way it will stay. So straighten things out, even them up. I have two different tools. This one is actually available in a craft store where you get the setters for small eyelets for paper art, and then this is the setter that I use. I actually use both when I do this. So the first one I use is this cone-shaped one, and it helps spread it nicely. So put it right in the center of the eyelet, hammer, and it's opened it up, but then you'll notice it's still up a little bit. So I'll use this, dome the eyelet down. You can see there that it's got a nice even edge and nothing's going to hurt your hand. And so right now you've got this really nice glue pad. If you're going to glue something, you may want this to be just a little bit more flat, so you can actually take your hammer and just go straight onto it. Something that I really like to do is to use these from the cutting discs, because they're nice and flat. Put it right on top, and it won't injure any other part of the ring blank. Get it down, and you've got it all really nice and smooth. So now you've actually just attached a disc to a ring blank, so you have a perfect place for gluing. Then you'll use the wrap and tap for wrapping the ring. I always start with this side, try and curve it there, make sure it's in alignment. So I curve one side and then I go to the other side and curve and finish that up. So it can wrap on top of itself and press down. You can see now you have this great place to glue. The idea of having a disc instead of gluing it directly onto the metal is that the disc will stay flat. Whatever you put on there will not move around even if it gets bumped. If you put anything here, this tends to open and close. A lot of different things can happen. Putting things on a curved surface is usually pretty dangerous and you have a good chance of losing it. So that's why we do this. The next thing we're going to learn to do is a rivet, and I have some very tiny little rivets. They go from minis. These are the minis. These are actually my favorite to use because with metal work, because I don't use that thick of metal, it's 14 gauge would be the thickest. Some of the other rivets that are around would be much too thick. They were actually made for leather, and these work very nicely in the metal. So what we're going to do, got this nice disc, and we're going to attach a smaller disc right into the center. So we're going to make a very fun design. You can actually attach these anywhere you want. A lot of times an eyelet is used more for a design, but it can be used to attach things, and a rivet is used to hold things together. First thing we need to do is make a hole in each one of our pieces. And these are very tiny, so the way to figure out what size you need, just put the rivet right in here, and definitely you'll be able to go with the smallest hole. Just get this lined up to center. Make sure you have the flat side. And it likes to come out the top better than the bottom. Pull if you can. Alright, so we've got a hole in there. Now we'll put a hole in the disc. Slide it in here, and I'm just using just a scrap piece of metal to push it to where I need it. Put the punch right in the center, make sure you've got the flat side down. Hammer firmly. And it likes to come out of the top, so we'll get there, and pull. There we go. You can see that I was not quite in the middle, but we're pretty close. Alright, now we're going to use our metal block. And we'll put our rivet down. This is the part of the rivet that has the shaft that goes up and down. Then we put our bottom piece, top piece, and then we've got a rivet cap. And these are tiny. So we put that, put it right on top. I know my fingers are probably in the way. But you can see right now that it's just on top there. That one's not in there straight. So you definitely want to make sure that it's in there straight. It should sit very flat. So now it's sitting flat. Now, you really don't want to use a hammer straight on it because there's so much of a chance of marring the edges. So I like to use the punches from the disc cutter, are my very favorite. We do have some other things that come with the rivet setter that are made for this, but this works very well. So you just put this right on top. Again, hammer very firmly. Now you can see that this is flush against the side. This is flush, and nothing is moving. So you've made a permanent connection that won't move without doing any soldering. So this is great. Rivets are wonderful for attaching parts to parts. You could even add a bail if you wanted to. Make a loop out of just a piece of scrap metal if you have it. Punch a hole here, punch a hole here, and you could even attach a very nice bail to hold things together. So the sky's the limit with these. Get creative and have fun.